Okay, so we're still in the Camel program. We're gonna start with part 4. We're gonna add commands to get the camel moving. I'm gonna open up the textbook so I can follow it along, read-the-docs.io. And I think that the last time that we were here, we got up to step number 14. Scroll down here, 14. We're gonna be adding an else-if loop. An else-if statement in the loop to see if the camel, or rather the user, wants to go ahead at full speed. What this means is that although we'll put some distance between us and the enemies, the camel will get tired, the user will get thirsty. We're going to be moving anywhere from 10 to 20 miles, and the tiredness of the camel will increase from 1 or up to 3. And the natives will be moving 7 to 14 miles. So they're catching up with us, even though we're moving faster. I'm going to move, or rather open up my repl.it. And I have camels 1, 2, and 3 already there. I'm going to click on my repls. I'm interested in opening up number 3, camel P3. And I'm going to copy the code that's already there. That way we can continue with part 4 without having to retype everything. And I wish there were another way, but this is the simpler way. I'm going to click somewhere in between the boxes here and get the code. I click inside, press Ctrl A as in Apple, and select all of that code. Right click and copy. Now that it's copied, I can go to the top right and click on plus new repl. That will create a new file. I'm going to select Python, and I'm going to call this camel P4, so the continuation of the game. All of that code that I just copied still in the memory. I'm going to click under main.py and press Ctrl V as in Victor to paste. I'm going to give myself a little bit more space. I wish that we could read this a little bit better, but that's the space we have. So I'm going to scroll up just to see what we've done so far. Welcome to Camel, you've stolen a camel, etc. We already know all this part. We have created some commands. We're going to focus right now on head at full speed. So it's going to be Command C. I'm going to find my loop, and here's the first else if. So if I go between the if and the first else if, any additional else ifs will work just fine. I'm going to press enter a couple of times before that else if, and then click on the up arrow twice so that I am now ready to type in some code. I'm just going to go straight and explain what I'm doing. It's an else if that I need to add, just like I had before, and it's going to be user choice dot upper, so that it understands that it's either lowercase or an uppercase. I'm going to press on the parentheses to get the blank one. Outside of the parentheses, I'm going to make sure to compare that this is equal to quotes and then uppercase C. After the quotes, I need to put in the colon, that is the then, so that when I press enter, it tabs in a little bit so that it now knows that there's a little program that follows. I'm going to comment this with a hashtag and say that this is going to be move at full speed. Enter. And I'm now going to do some calculations, basically miles traveled. And if you start to type in your variable and you see this menu that pops up, you can press tab, and whatever is highlighted will be typed in. So miles traveled is highlighted. I'll press tab and it just types it in. Miles traveled is equal to the miles traveled plus a random number, random dot randrage. I can select that there as well, and it's going to be a number between, we said, I think 10 and 20 miles. So yes, 10 and 20 inclusive. So that it's inclusive, then it'll be a number between 10, the lower one can be the same number, comma 21. So that'll be a random number between 10 and 20, but not 21. So in the next line, the thirst will go up by 1. So thirst is equal to thirst plus 1. The thirst is set, and now the camel is now going to get tired. The camel tiredness is going to be equal to the camel tiredness, the same number, plus random number, random dot, in the range for this one is going to be a little bit lower, random range. We said, I do believe it's going to be between 1 and 3, so we'll say 1 comma 4, so that the 3 is inclusive. Go to the next line, and the natives are getting closer. So natives distance is going to be equal to the same thing, whatever natives distance was, plus we're going to be adding another random number. So random dot rand range, and it's going to be somewhere between 7 and 14. So 7 comma 15 is what we need inside the parentheses. I'll press enter again, and I'm going to give the user a message. I'm going to print parentheses quote /n and blah blah blah. What was the message I was going to say? You are now quote comma, give them the miles traveled minus the native's distance. So basically it's just the same thing as a status report, but in between the place. So the native's distance, comma, space, quote, miles ahead of the natives. And that closes that. I'll go to the next line. And as an additional help, I'll say, I leave them another message, and I'll print parentheses quote your thirst is now at, and maybe this is too much information, but I'll put it in there, and maybe later I can delete it, but I think we can help out the user. This will be thirst, and that should be that. Print your thirst is now at quote thirst. Maybe I don't need the space here, so I'll delete it. And so that's the letter C. That will be C for move at full speed. I'll spell move with a V, as it should be. So all of this is going to be very similar now to the next thing, which is basically the same commands, except it's not going to be as fast. It's going to be a little bit more slow. So I could, let me see, if I start to click here and go all the way up, all of this that I just typed in, I'm going to copy by right click and copy. Go after the code that we just typed in and press Control V. So now I have 2 copies of what happens when we type the letter C. So else if user choice upper is C, and then the same thing in the next few lines. So I'm going to pick one. I'll pick the one on top, and I'm going to say, what if we press B instead of C? We're going to be changing this to move at a moderate speed, so our numbers will not be as large. The mouse travel will still be changing, mouse travel plus, but instead of a number between 10 and 21, we'll do it a little bit shorter because the camel's moving slower. So let's say somewhere between 5, actually the directions say between 5 and 12. So the range is 5 and 13. We're still getting thirsty. The camel is still getting tired, but not as tired as before. So rather than saying that it's tired at a random range, let's just say that it's whatever it was plus 1. So take it easy on the camel. This gives the player an advantage, so that if they're tired and they don't have water, they can actually get some distance going. The native's distance is going to be displayed the same way, but the random range will not be. Yes, they're moving at the same speed, whether you're going fast or not. This will not change. They're moving at a constant rate. The same announcement, you are now mouse travel, native's distance, etc. That stays the same, and your thirst is now something else. So then this should work. And I say should because I haven't tested. Let me run this and see what happens. So we can do any of the things we have done before. I'm going to press C to go fast. And it says that I'm now 25 miles ahead. So I'm moving fast. My thirst is now at 1. I'll do C again. And now I'm 30 miles. So I'm moving really fast. But my thirst is growing. And I bet you that the camel's getting tired. So that's fine. What if I press B? The same thing happens, except I don't move as fast. Now I'm 40 miles. Now I'm 42 miles. So it's kind of going, but the if you notice, although we're moving forward, the natives are catching up on us. So we didn't get any errors. We were able to change the situation in the game to move fast or to move slow. Now that that's happened and we're completed part 4, make sure that you turn in your Camel P4 link, this link up here. Go to your Google Drive and well, you don't need to go to your Google Drive. Actually, go to your eCampus and turn in the link for this to your Chapter 5 assignment 4.4, the Camel Part 4, and turn it in for a grade. Thank you.